Hi folks, let's talk about lesson number 8 in the workbook. Lesson number 8, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. This idea is, of course, the reason why you see only the past. No one really sees anything. He sees only his thoughts projected outward, like on a movie screen. The mind's preoccupation with the past is the cause of the misconception about time, from which your seeing suffers. In other words, time and space are illusions, brought about through our projections of ideas onto the movie screen that we call life. And we think they're real, but we're really watching our own movie projection. Your mind cannot grasp the present. I'm talking about your logical mind here. Your logical mind cannot grasp the present, which is the only time there is. In other words, the present is not the now moment. What the Course also refers to as the holy instant is not a measurement of time at all. It functions completely outside of time and is an aspect of eternity. Eternity is not time that runs on and on and on and on, unending. Eternity functions outside of time. This is extremely important. Extremely important. Because time, from our viewpoint, is how we remember things. History, historical events, future dreams, are all functions of the mind playing tricks on itself and doing its own making up of stories. Your mind cannot grasp the present, which is the only time there really is. It therefore cannot understand time and cannot, in fact, understand anything. Your logical, intellectual mind cannot understand anything outside of its own storytelling. It cannot understand eternity. It cannot understand what's going on in relationships, the undercurrent in a relationship. It cannot understand any of this because the mind, your logical mind, is constantly making up a story. It's writing its own script as it goes along. And something of that nature cannot understand itself, and therefore it cannot understand life, nor can it understand eternity. It's too busy painting its own story. The one wholly true thought one can hold about the past is that it is not here. The one wholly true thought one can hold about the past is that it is not here. To think about it at all is therefore to think about illusions, because it's not here. Very few have realized what is actually entailed in picturing the past or anticipating the future. That's important. The mind is actually blank when it does this, because it is not really thinking about anything. Let's read that again. Very few have realized what is actually entailed in picturing the past, remembering it, or anticipating the future. We don't understand what we're doing when we do that. The mind is actually blank when it does this. It's blank because it's not aware of who you really are at that moment. It's too engaged in making a story. The mind is actually blank when it does this because it is not really thinking about anything. The purpose of the exercise for today is to begin to train your mind to recognize when it is not really thinking at all. While thoughtless ideas preoccupy your mind, the truth is blocked. That's what life means to most people. Most people are preoccupied with a million meaningless things rattling around in their thoughts, in their heads, about nothing. Nothing of any consequence, nothing about eternity, and nothing about who they really, really are. They keep searching for goals, true purpose in life, and the fact that they're searching means they haven't found it, and they haven't found it because they're looking in the world for it and not within. You will never find true purpose by looking in the world for it. It is not there. The exercises for today should be done with your eyes closed. This is because you actually cannot see anything. And it's easier to recognize that no matter how vividly you may picture a thought, you are not seeing anything. With as little investment as possible, search your mind for the usual minute or so, merely noting the thoughts that you find there. Name each one by the central figure or theme it contains, and pass on to the next. Introduce the practice period by saying, I seem to be thinking about having a barbecue today for lunch. I seem to be thinking about what I'm going to do this afternoon. I seem to be thinking about this person I met up with yesterday. Then name each of your thoughts specifically. For example, I seem to be thinking about Bob, about the car, or about a trip, or about going to a theater tonight. I seem to be thinking about these things. And conclude at the end of the mind-searching period with this idea. But my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. You'll find that everything you're thinking about is past thoughts. Even a thought about something you want to do tomorrow is based on something from your past. If you're thinking about what you want to do tomorrow, it's because of a past thought that you're projecting to tomorrow. If you're thinking, you know, I was reading a review the other day about a new movie that came out in the theater. I think I'd like to go see that movie. Yeah, that sounds like a really good movie. I'd like to do that. So you thought back to the review, projected into a future possible event of, I'd like to see that movie. So you've gone to the past, to the future. Past, remembering, future, expectation or anticipation. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. This can be done 4 or 5 times during the day, unless you find it irritates you. If you find it trying, 3 or 4 times is sufficient. You might find it helpful, however, to include your irritation or any emotion that the idea for today may induce in the mind searching itself. So all you're doing, and the reason you're doing this particular lesson, is to remind yourself that everything that you are experiencing with the past and the future is just that. And the reason you would do that is helping you to lose your grip on seeing that or thinking that that is your reality, because it isn't. And as you begin to detach yourself from all of those things and recognize that these are simply past and future ideas, and they're not in the moment, it dawns on your mind that because they're not in the moment, it's not the real you doing it, it's not your higher self doing it. It also dawns on your mind that while you're doing those things, you're not aware of your higher self. It also reminds you that you're not listening to higher guidance while you're doing those things, or you wouldn't do them. And it's that constant reminding 3, 4, 5 times a day that over a period of time you value those things less and less and less. And you might think, well, I don't want to not value those. I read that write-up about that movie I wanted to see, and I do want to see that movie. All we're saying is remind yourself of what it is that you're doing, that you're creating all these experiences over a period of time because you're detaching yourself from the significance of them. This doesn't mean you don't go to the movie and enjoy the movie. What this really means is you're beginning to see and remind yourself of what is real and what isn't real, so that as the real begins to take in your place of the others, you truly value that. You value those moments when you're in the holy instant where you pass no judgment on someone, where you're loving and allowing, and the fact that they are even there in your life is a reminder to you of how grand they really are. That's what you want to foster. That's what you want to bring forth. That's what you want to cultivate in your everyday thinking. So you're sorting out throughout your day those things that you are projecting from your past into your future, from those states of awareness and beingness where you love and appreciate all that is. That's the purpose of that exercise. So have fun with that one, folks. That's lesson number 8 for now. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.